All right, my name is Daisy Lira. So, Kitty, good to have you on the program Flipside. Yes, the other side of the news. Last week was International Women's Day. So today on the show, we'll be talking about the International Women's Day in retrospect. So I want to ask, we have two guests in the house, of course, that will be asking how their day went on the International Day, what they did, how they enjoyed the day, and every other thing. Then also, between last week to today, three matters involving women have also featured on the social media and has led to lots and lots of comments. One of the cases of this Chidima that killed, or that is alleged to have killed Usifo Otaga. She might be judged guilty, or surprisingly, she could even be judged innocent. The case is still in courts and judgment is pending. All right, and several other women cases that we'll be bringing to the fore to talk about on the International Women's Day. You know, International Women's Day is a very, very important event to me, especially. We talk about women's achievements, we celebrate women who have done a lot, and also I know women are beginning to be included in matters in social issues, political issues. You're getting involved, but we have not gotten to the level we want. The difference between the men and the women in politics is still too high. The difference between men in engineering and women there is still too large. We want equality, even if it cannot be achieved, but at least the difference should be really minimal. So today we're talking about a few of the challenges, some things people have judged about women who are successful. I remember one time I talked about someone saying a woman who is successful, a boss who is in the office as a woman, when she asserts her authority as a boss, the men around say, don't mind her, she's so bossy. That's how she'll be dealing with her husband anyhow. But when a man asserts his authority as a boss, they say, now man now, and you know, well, we'll talk about a lot of things on the show today, so you don't want to miss out on any part of it. You can join us on GoTV, on Star Times, on TSTV, on Facebook and YouTube Live. So if peradventure your light goes off, just go on our website and you can also watch us or download the ITV app to your phones right away. But before I introduce my guest to you on the show, I have the UN message on the International Women's Day. I know it's not today, but we're talking about it. So let's quickly push play to that one. And after that, you meet my guest and we'll get talking. All right, message to everyone out there on the International Women's Day. So I have two amazing ladies in the house today. And together we'll be talking about this. Seated very close to me is Lion Golda Ungoka. Good to have you on the show for the first time on Flipside. Yay, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, and I have Annie Omoro. She's my fellow Isako sister. I know I'm not Isako. Those who know me know I'm Benin, but you know how I am now Isako. All right, so good to have you on the show. These both of them are activists. They are a voice to women and children, and so that's why they're here, women rights activists, and we'll be talking about International Women's Day. So I think I'll start with you, Annie. You're closer to me, so let's start that way and go there and tell you.
Yeah.
International Women's Day, what does it mean to you, and how did you celebrate it last week?
Actually, it's good for us to talk about this in order to let women know that gone are the days when women are seen as a weaker vessel, as a woman whose career ends in the kitchen, as a woman who has no voice in the family, and important decisions, who is not even counted among human beings. It's only men that are seen as men, you know, like in the Bible. When Jesus fed the 5,000 men, women were there. Children were there. But no record of a woman. You understand? And I see that Jesus was also trying to see the importance of women in the society where men lives. That is why you see the prominence of Mary Magdalene. You can tell you that even when he rose, it was women who first saw him. So Jesus came to change the whole of the history of all what we're talking about today. That in every history without a woman is incomplete. So it was as a result of this that women from years will have been fighting over to see how women can be brought to light. That it has become a global celebration. That is to see what women have done in the past, their achievements, their development, their contributions, their role to the development of the society, the community, the families. So to me, I would say on that day, I joined the voice of other women all over the world, that women are no longer being left in the background of history when it comes to issue of development and contribution to the well-being of society. It was a thing of joy that yes, though we are still very far when it comes to Africa, but I know gradually we will get there.
We hope
Thank
so.
you very much.
Okay, Mrs. Annie, let's talk about you. What's this IWD mean to you?
I get super excited every time we get to talk about the International Women's Day. And most especially every year where we have unique things that we celebrate. This year it's Break the Bias. And I'm super excited about it because advocacies are being made, issues are being discussed on what is limiting the women. How can we break this thing that is causing a barrier between us and those some of us have been able to break through, but I wouldn't say 100%. I would still say with this our society we'll be able to break through 50, 60%. But we don't just want it to be a space for just few women. We want more women. And so that's why I'm super excited about this year, because looking at how to break the bias, to make women equal to men. I don't mean that in the light where some of us think that a woman has to be so equal or rub shoulders with men, but by equality I mean what's good for the man that is good for a woman should be given to the woman. That's what I mean, and we can also go into that. And part of the activities, we've done quite a lot. You know, usually International Women's Day, we have the 8th that is celebrated, but the activities span out for the whole month. And so one of the activities, I've joined other groups to celebrate. One of the activities I've also done was to take a message to the grassroots. You know, there are a lot of issues that we've been having, and one of the messages I took to the grassroots last week was to have a program with women, children, and girls to talk about some of these things that needs to be changed. Because when we start talking about changing the status quo, we need to look at the root causes. We need to look at where some of these things are starting from. For example, when you have 2 children, a boy and a girl, most mothers seem to think that everything about the girl ends in the kitchen. And so they limit the girl child to the kitchen. Well, the boy has access to internet, he has access to an Android phone, where he can read and study. You see mothers say, no, don't do this. You go to the kitchen. So when the girl tries to mingle or probably wants to read, be like, what are you reading for? My friend, have you washed plates? My friend, have you done this? So that was some of the messages they took down. For parents not to limit their children, because they learn from the home at that point when they are young. And so when they grow with the mindset that what's the essence of trying to break through and do more than I am already doing, because at the end of the day, I end up in the kitchen. So one of the activities I did, and we will continue to do for the rest of the month, is to reach out to women at the grassroots and discuss these things on how to break the biases.
Okay. Now, you're both career women, and you do a whole lot. You personally, I know, because you're in one international organization, and they gave me an award last year. Okay, and in our society, we have lots of men in high places. Now, I remember the wife of the president and the vice president put a bill that was tossed out recently. And when the members of the House were asked why, they said when you bring a bill, you lobby. Well, instead of these women to have lobbied early enough and do enough lobbying, they were busy partying in Dubai.
Yeah.
You know, they brought a cake, and that one was the reason why they dropped it. And we had an argument in the radio student saying, is that reason enough to drop this bill? If this bill is going to favor your daughter, your mother, their children that are females tomorrow, Why should you be bothered about that they didn't lobby enough? Forget lobby and do what's right. But all of those things were just talks. So, what tips would you give to a woman out there who's studying, who's hoping to get into this male-dominated world that we're living, how they can break through, whether it's in politics, whether it's in your educational field, your career, medicine, media, all of these places I've mentioned, engineering, they're still dominated by men. So how can we break through in this male-dominated society? A few tips from both of you. So anyone can start.
Okay. First of all, it's not really been easy, to be honest. Even as we say we're career women, we still have our challenges, especially when it's a men-dominated society. And it's not just, anyway, it's a men-dominated society anyway. But I think one of the problems we have in this part of the world, tradition, religion, some of these things just tend to push the women down. But my advice and my tips, don't give up. Some of us did not give up. Some of us are not giving up. It doesn't mean that we've gotten there, but we've not given up. Arrows will be thrown verbally. However, you know, whatever it is, a lot of people will say a lot of things. I've heard so much. Before I got married, I heard, oh, she slept with a lot of people to get to this position. I didn't mind. I kept on doing what I was doing. At some point, when I was to get married, I knew people who went to my husband to be and said, she's a human rights activist, so she go put you under her armpit. They did say all of that. In fact, at some point, he did record one of the conversation and played it to me, and I laughed. You know, people will always say. Afterwards, some said, oh, she doesn't want to have a child, though, because she's forming, she wants to stand the way a man is standing. But all of this, at every point, at every stage, you will hear a lot of things, but do not let it deter you. As long as you have a goal, just set for your goal and do what you know is right. Be on the right path and leave the rest for God.
Okay, anything to add?
Yes. Just like she rightly said, it's not going to be different from what I'm going to say. But all I have to advise women out there, if you have a vision, you have a goal to pursue, please be focused. Be focused. Don't get discouraged by distractions that you are a woman. Like the Jara properly saying that everything a man can do, a woman can do better. You may not do better than a man, but you can stand your ground to gain what you have decided to gain for yourself and be happy with it. Get educated. Get focused. Meet people. Meet people with good visions, people in line with your visions. Because the only other ways women can be thrown is when you move with people who doesn't have the same mindset with you, who do not have the same vision with you. In fact, they do not have dreams. Therefore, your dreams is meaningless. So women out there, first of all, decide on what you want. Go out there to meet people who have passed through the same road and get focused. I am sure you will get there.
Okay. Now, there are some assumptions men make about in fact, we cannot begin to highlight the different areas these assumptions are made. But is there anyone you would like to change? What would it be?
Yes. If I will have an opportunity to change, is that men should know that women and men are created equally in the sight of God. And that women should not be seen as a weak vessel. All women need is encouragement as a supporter. Men should not see women completely that, after all, I paid the bride price on your head. I hear you men say that. And it annoys me. I accepted you to pay bride price. That was why you paid the bride price. I can as well have said no. Therefore, it is not a right.
Of course.
It's a privilege. To me, it's a privilege. It's not a right. So it's not a right over me. It's a privilege for me to share the rest of my life with you. Men should change this attitude of disrespecting women. Because we are all made of sand and dust. Man was not made with iron or gold. We are all made with from dust. Therefore, men should respect women, irrespective that they are women. We are all made of blood and flesh.
Interesting. Okay, what would you want to change?
Okay, so apart from the fact that they do like to say when a woman is growing in whatever field she is, men assume that she's done some shady things to get to that position. For example, like I made mention just now, they come up with this, oh, she slept with men to get to this position. That's one. I'd like to change that. I think men need to change the orientation about that. Not all women sleep with men or do shady things to get to a position that you normally think that because you're a man you can't get to, and then you assume that because a woman has gotten to that position, it means that she has paid a terrible price. Not all women do that. Now, two, men, I made a post last week on this House of Assembly Train Out the Women Bill, and I asked the question on my Facebook page. I said, why are men scared of giving women positions? And I did that because I wanted to get people's opinion or what people were thinking. And it will surprise you to know that in this day and age, a lot of men have some very funny thinking. Imagine people coming to my Facebook page to say, because when you give a woman power, she uses it and misuses it. So I'm saying, no, a woman is not supposed to talk when men are talking. I read all of this and I was shocked. Now, to also change something else is, not all women you give power to that misuse that power. As a matter of fact, let me go to the Bible. When man was made, God said, let us make woman to be his helpmate. He knew the woman was not going to misuse the power. It was for the woman to assist the man. So men need to take that mindset away. That when a woman is doing something good, she deserves that position. Give it to her. Don't say when you give a woman this position and the woman misuses the position. No. Some say she becomes a terrible boss. I have also heard something very recently too that I think I'd like to change. I'd like Edo men in particular to change that, because I've heard that a lot here. That when a woman is working and she's making more money than the man and she wants to build a house, or they want to build a house together, the woman kills the man to inherit because she wants to be a landlord. I don't, yes.
I've heard that stuff. I've heard it.
Yes, I've tried to wrap my head around that. And you hear them say it. And you hear men who are learned, enlightened, in the conversation. Have this conversation, and it's not just beer parlor talk. Sometimes we say it's beer parlor. No. It's serious. When you hear it once, twice, from different angles, you know, okay, this is something that is trending, but they're not saying it out loud. I think men need to change their orientations. Please. Not all women want to kill their husbands. In fact, I don't think any sane woman wants to carry the tag of a widow. Nobody wants to go through that emotional trauma. So please, men should stop all of these things that you say that are negative to women. Encourage us. We have a few men that do encourage us, but it's like a drop in an ocean. Please, men, encourage us. We don't want to rub shoulders with you people, but we just want a space where we can shine. That's all that we want.
Okay, I'm sorry. When you talked about inheritance, I've heard that stuff. I've heard the talking that I personally had asked my dad at some point, like, okay, maybe I don't know Benin culture enough. Is there anywhere a man dies in Benin, since we're Benins, where the property is inherited by the wife? He said no, that usually when a man dies, the son, the first son, is the one who takes the house. I'm like, okay, so why do people keep saying the woman wants to keep the man to inherit property? I've heard that talk too. It's really strange how people talk.
I think what I feel is that men, they are being threatened by
women's
women.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because men are being threatened by women's success. Because from assumption is that women are to be left in the dark room. Now suddenly they saw women coming out because they don't want the women to see what they are doing there. It's a man's world. The women have no say. So suddenly they see women coming up with their successes. So this woman, if she's successful as mine, which means that I can't be able to give her command. You don't give your wife command. You understand? You only ask for her help. My dear, can you please help me do this? Does not mean she's no longer your wife.
Yeah.
She's not going to be more subordinate to you or submissive to you. It's a question of understanding that we should come on equal terms. As a man, you have your respect. As a woman, you have your respect. Yes.
Okay, the people who talk the most about women being submissive, they forget the part before submission where they talked about love. If you love someone, you won't hurt the person.
Of course.
You see a lot of men who are cheating, emotionally stressing their wives, talking about submission. It's all strange. I mean, you're not loving, you're talking about submission. But let's not get into that biblical part of it, even though we will not leave here.
They forget that by submission you earn it.
Yeah, they don't get
You
that.
earn submission. Yes. Yes.
To suit themselves.
Yes. For a man to earn the submission of his wife, the man himself must have committed to his wife.
Okay, now before we came on set, I was asking these amazing women a particular question, and I asked Mrs. Lion Golda, I asked her, is she a feminist? She said no. So I asked Annie, are you a feminist? She said yes. And I said, okay. So I'm going to direct this question to Annie. I asked Golda why she isn't a feminist. She gave her reasons. I understand them perfectly well. But the funny thing is, when I start analyzing it, come like all of us now the same camp we do. Well, okay, let me just direct this to you, Mrs. Annie. What the stereotype of feminism that people have, the mindset of feminism that they have, please can you help us straighten it and let them understand what feminism is and what it's all about?
Okay, so, you know, when someone has an idea about something and you talk to the person about it, the person should be open-minded to understand. Now, on different forums, a lot of us have come out to talk and explain what feminism really is. But the truth is that that thing that they like to think feminism is what they just want to dwell on. The fact that we are bitter women. The fact that we are angry women. We are women who, how will I even put it now? Women who think that men should be under our feet. Women who instigate other women to disrespect men. That's what some people just want. So I know, even with trying to straighten this today, some people will still live here or
another thing.
Yes, and still pick something else we've talked about in giving us the chance and say, oh, that's what feminism really is, and not what they're saying. But the truth is that feminism is not oppressing a man. I think we need to understand that. Feminism is not us being bitter. Feminism is we asking for what is rightfully ours. The men have 80%. Okay, please, bring it down and bring the women's own. Let's do 50-50. It's fair. Or let's do 60-40. That's in summary. So we don't say feminism is when this woman says oppress this man or insult this man. No. Just like Mama said a few minutes ago, when we talk about all of this, they say feminists don't want to be submissive to men, and that's why a lot of them are not married. That's a lie. A lot of us are married, and we understand these things. The men that we're married to, some of them, many of them, understand the wife that they are married to. And some of them act according to how they should. A man who understands that his wife has to work, he has to work too, and comes back, he comes back and helps. What do you need to do? Let me help you with something. It doesn't make him less of a man at all. Some people see that aspect of a man helping his wife. I say, okay, he's a feminist. She has decided to turn into a kitchen boy.
Yeah.
No.
She has wifed the man.
Yes. It's not. So I think we need to change all of that. There's a whole difference between what we do outside and what we do in the house. You people need to understand that. So it's not something we will just analyze here. It's a whole process. Some people think as a feminist, because we stand for the right of women and girls, yes, there's a rape case, there's an abuse case, and some of us are shouting, we will not agree to this. You feel that when our husband talks in the house, we now shout, no, we will not agree to this. No, we have discussions like matured adults. When you go to some people's homes, you see that some men talk to their wives, in fact, they bully their wives. And so when some of us come and say, please don't bully your wife, some people come out and say they are because they are bitter feminists. No. You can't see the full glory of a woman when you oppress her, when you put her down, when you bully her. No. Give a woman the chance to grow in your house, and she will grow and bring light to your house. That is one of the things we are saying. So please, this thing when people say feminists are angry people, we are not. Yes, if you want to see the angry side of us, abuse a woman sexually, abuse a woman in a way, bully her, then you will see us as angry feminists. But apart from that, we want an equal society. I will not stop saying that. That's one of the things feminists have been talking about. Stop thinking that when a man talks, sometimes we go out and you hear a woman should not talk when a man is talking, for goodness sake. And most times, the women are the ones, with all due respect to the men, the women are the ones who have thought these things through and have good ideas. Some of these men who come out and say, and open-chestedly just say some things and we clap for them, they've discussed with their wives behind. And their wives have said, oh, these are the few points that I think. In fact, my husband does that sometimes. He brings an issue and we discuss it. And when he goes out and he's talking about it, I'm like, but that's my idea, guy. You know, and he comes back and I'm like, you didn't even say you want to acknowledge the fact that it was me that discussed this thing with you. He does that a lot in their family meetings. I'd be like, now, Shebi, now that I said everybody's happy, you will still be happy.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how it is. We don't want to ride on the men. We are proud to see our men doing good. And we will be where we are saying, oh yes, that's my idea. So please, let's disregard this feminist and bitter. No, no, no. We just want a chance to shine. I will keep saying that. Okay.
Am I a feminist? Everybody who watches Flipside knows that I'm a feminist. I'm a feminist. Am I married? Of course I'm married. Do I have a child? I have a child, though.
Are you doing okay in your home? Yes,
I am doing well. I'm happy in my home, and my husband is very, very happy. Am I oppressing him? Of course not. Is he shining? Very well. Has it stopped my shine? No, I'm still here, and I'm still doing my program, and we're all doing well. So feminism is giving women equal opportunity as you've given the men. And when you now try to say, no, I want to oppress and suppress a woman, the woman says, no, you shouldn't do that. If it's about education qualification, you have a degree, I have the degree. You have experience, I have experience, even much more than you do sometimes. So as a result, I should be given this role. That's feminism. Don't put me down because of my gender.
Yeah.
Don't finish, oh. Well, I know. All right, we'll go on another break quickly. When we'll come back, we'll talk some more about, I know you've seen some pictures of a woman, you've seen Chidima. We'll just quickly touch on those before we leave the studio. We'll be right back. Okay. Before that break, I was going to straighten out something. When we women really talk about equality, we are also saying, understand that the strength of a man is also different from that of a woman. Like the video we just played to, you could see women in sports. We're not saying because we are saying equality, you now put men and women in the same soccer team. Men play versus women. We don't have the same strength. That's just biology. It's not our fault we were created that way. But things that involve mental strength, please, you're not more intelligent than a woman. Mental strength is a totally different ballgame. Physical strength is another matter entirely. So let's not get confused. All right, now back to the studio. We're going to talk about 3 different women urgently. And I want to start with Chidima. Now, Chidima became popular because of the death of Usifo Ataga, and she was alleged to have been the one who killed him. She was a side chick. There were videos showing them together. There were rumors of who planted the evidence, who sent her and all that stuff, but we're still waiting for court judgment. She's been remanded, and as such, she participated in the Miss Cell and emerged winner. They put a photo of her out there, but because she already made a name for something wrong, everybody started talking. Social media was burning. And I want to ask, do you think this reaction was to that extent because it's a woman involved. I mean, men kill women all the time and all that stuff, but do you think this attack on Nigerian correctional facilities was because this is a woman who is alleged to have killed a man? Could it be gender-based, this reaction? Lion Golda.
Yes, I think I have to say from that angle that it was as a result of gender equality. Because if you look back to history, even within our society, we have seen so many men who have committed more than what this lady has done. And yet they are still parading. They have offices. Go to the Senate, go to the House of Assembly, go to the local government, go to our churches. They have the same, they have positions that they occupy, irrespective of their past. Therefore, we shouldn't just say this lady that she has done what nobody else has ever done. But rather, we should look at it and in the other way, that for the fact that she has found herself in this mess, she still has right to live. She still has right to defend. That is why the case is in courts. And the law says that nobody is guilty until found by the courts. She has right to participate, to live her life freely. So if she has opportunity to have participated in that pageant program, there's nothing wrong about that. Because we have in our society a lot of people who have as well has murdered. But meanwhile, we should also see that murdering is not only when a life is taken physically. When somebody's name is defamated,
You've murdered the
you have murdered the person. When you take someone's source of life, when you destroy somebody's image, destroys his reputation, you have as well murdered. So murder is not only by machete or by other means of such nature. With our mouths, when you tell lies against somebody, and the person looks stupid before the other as a result of what you have said about the person, you as well murder the person. So we shouldn't see murder as a one-way traffic. There are other ways to murder. You understand?
Yeah.
So for this lady, she has the right to participate. And she has won. Let us not see her to be dead, even before the death sentence is pronounced. If such
sentence
will be there.
Exactly. Okay, so let me move on to the next one. Burma Shaa. There's a lady called Burma Shaa. Reports have been, meeting reports. Some reports said she's a mom, she has a baby, and she just had a baby not quite long before she passed. And I saw the video of the baby yesterday, but I wasn't opportunity to read through that story, so I'm going to also get updated after the show. She entered, those who don't know the story, she boarded a BRT bus in Lagos, and while she was there, she became suspicious of the driver, so she started recording him, and she was sending it to a friend. She gave voice messages that she doesn't understand this driver. This driver is insisting that she's the only one who's going to carry because she's a fine girl. The guy is acting strange. She's not comfortable in the bus. And after a while, she was declared missing. Some days later, she was found, and some of her body parts were removed. The driver has been arrested, but the first time the driver was paraded, he was crying, he looked a mess, giving a story. The matter was just somehow. Then we saw him paraded a second time, looking all clean, well-dressed, wearing even government uniform, explaining that when the girl came into the bus, some other persons entered the bus. They now held him at gunpoint. So he ran away, he was scared. The story changed. The first one, he was practically admitting to committing the crime. The next one, he was now saying someone else, as lawyers obviously advised them and all that. So that's actually the Burma Shaa story. A lot of, when you read that story, first of all, what came to your mind? And then you also addressed the issue that many people are beginning to neglect about security for the girl child. Women are being used for rituals in increasing number in recent time, much more than men. And it seemed like we've never really focused our gaze on this issue. So please just address what you can address about Burma Shaa's story.
It's a pity that almost every other month we come out. In fact, I say this with so much heaviness in my heart because I have a girl child, and sometimes I look at her and I say, I wonder if I would even allow her go to school. Because almost every other month, you see the hashtag, so person lives matter. Now it's Burma Shaa. Last month it was someone else. There are a whole lot that sometimes I even tend to miss them. Sometimes it's young girls in boarding school that are molested and then they die. Sometimes it's girls who are being used for rituals, who you see their bodies on the roadside. Now, for goodness sake, this girl went to work, was going home. She didn't just enter any vehicle, because some of us would have said, oh, maybe she entered a vehicle because people are very good at giving excuses. Mm-hmm. Maybe she entered a vehicle that didn't have a plate number. Or maybe she entered a one-chance vehicle. Sometimes you even hear, maybe she was waiting for free motor to carry her.
Yeah,
you hear all sorts of nonsense. But she entered into a government-registered vehicle, bus, or coaster bus, or whatever they call it, BRT, and such a thing happens. It goes to show that we are no longer safe. I think women need to hear this and hear it very well. On a certain platform where we're talking about this, some of us suggested you need to start holding pepper spray. This will go a long way. Not like it will curb it, but at least pour pepper spray first before you start looking for help, because it goes to show that we are not safe. Those who are in the house who comes out, we've had rape cases like that, and then after raping them, they murder them by the side of the house. We've had those who go out and come back, and they don't even get home. Now, this one did not go out to prostitute with the bronze girl thing that they've given to most of the girls that are being used for ritual. She went to work. So I think it's a deliberate, I don't want to say it's a deliberate act to end our agenda. I wouldn't want to say that. But I think we have become an endangered species. That's the truth. And I wouldn't want to say the government is not doing anything about it, because every time an issue comes up, some of us shout and shout and shout about it, and before you know it, it is swept under the rug. And then another issue comes up, and we are saying, oh, last month we talked about this, now we're talking about this, and we carry that, champion it, before you know, it's beginning to have issues in court. Courts will say today sitting, next month sitting, delayed judge yes. And before you know, it becomes a stale case. And then the next thing, something happens again, and we take up the other one. So please, women, girls, we have become an endangered species. So please, please, and please, protect yourself. By protecting yourself, have pepper spray in your bag. I don't think it's expensive. I don't think it's too much to carry. I wouldn't even say don't go out or mind where you go to. Because the one we just had now, she went to work. She had a legitimate work. She entered a vehicle that was branded. People will say, don't enter vehicles by the roadside. Enter the ones that have names from the park. She did enter one of those, and this still happened. So please, let's be very, very careful. Also, have pepper spray in your bag. I normally tell the young girls I talk to, that I mentor, if you're walking on the street, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, put stone in your pocket. Sometimes they laugh.
I'm sorry. I just laughed. To stone the people.
Stone in your pocket, or put sand in your pocket. It's true. Because someone says, oh, come, let me talk to you. If she doesn't talk to him, they will say she's disrespectful.
True.
Oh, this child is disrespectful. And then she walks up to him and says, oh, brother, because we've had rape cases like that. And then he covers her mouth and he's struggling. Please, at that point, if it's the sand that's in your pocket, because he's holding your face, he's holding your mouth, throw it on his face.
Yeah, like you can.
So
at least
at least if you say you can't have pepper spray, that is one thing. Before it starts, you run and start shouting, help, oh, help, oh. It won't run after you. So those are some of the little remedies that are, yes. Because at the end of the day, when we say, if we had strong institutions that help us fight all of these things. What happens to the child emotionally, psychologically? That's another ball game entirely. So some of these institutions have failed us. So we need to help ourselves
as much as we can. All right, lastly, because time is, we've almost finished our time.
Okay.
Another woman's case that trended over the week was in Anambra State.
Yeah.
She's a widow.
In Aguleri.
Yeah. She was paraded naked, a woman, and there were family members, there were even children amongst the crowd. Seeing that, hey God, I'm afraid for the next generation. And she said the story, there was a narrative that she was having sexual intercourse with her husband, and the man died, and so that's why they paraded her. But we've gotten an update that that's not really what happened. She had an affair with another man, and the family of the man, her late husband, is claiming that the affair she had with another man is what led to their brother being sick, and so their brother has died. Because their brother has passed on, they paraded the woman naked and recorded it and put it on social media. But the woman came out to say, okay, did she have an affair with another man? Yes, she did. But it's her husband's permission. With her husband's permission, she did it. In her village, it is allowed for a woman who could not give birth to a child, if she's not barren, if her husband cannot impregnate her, for the man to choose a man that would impregnate her, and then she'll have the baby, and the baby will still be her husband's. They allow it in a village, so it's not an abomination. In that village, they also allow women who are barren to marry a woman for their husband, for him to impregnate, then the baby is their own. So it's an agreement thing. And she claimed that she had an agreement with her husband. But now that the man is dead, the in-laws just have issues with her. They don't like the man she went to meet that her husband chose, and so they were just trying to ridicule her and kill her if possible. So when you saw that appalling video, what came to mind?
Actually, when I saw it, I was very sad. I was sad because this is a woman who have her own human rights. Right to live.
Yes, to dignity.
You know, right to defend herself. She was not even allowed to defend herself. I wasn't happy. And I think that now that the state government and the people in the House of Assembly are looking into it, I think such tradition should be looked into.
Yeah.
Because it has to work against the fundamental human rights, right to freedom. You understand? So it's unfortunately that this thing happened. At this particular time, again, we are talking about the right of women to live in this world where men are dominating. But the question is this: how many women have died and their husbands are brought to book to tell or to receive such treatment or what killed the woman? We have seen several cases where a woman have been beaten by men and the woman passed on. Yes, we have seen a situation whereby women have been tortured mentally. Go to a psychiatric hospital, you see some women who has a mental cases there. It's as a result of, domestic torments, psychological torments that these women need to go through because they didn't want to cry out because they are women. Some of them will say, that's so you have to bear them now. And that's so we bear them, we will tell them our husband has reached today.
That's
and you see
yes.
And you see before you know it goes to her head and she's hospitalized. That man is right there facing another woman. Therefore, we have to actually look into this to see how women should be respected for the fact they are human beings. No woman was made inferior from animal or from a tree. We are all made by God. We should at least come to the terms whereby we respect women for who they are.
Okay. All right. Our time is up, so I'll just quickly wrap up. Last words on the show. So let me start with you, Mrs. Zani.
Okay. Before I do my last words, just to add to what Mama said on this issue. When we were discussing, I talked about culture. Some of these cultures have a way of bringing women low. The Constitution is very clear. Right to dignity as a person, it is there. And so something came to my mind when that happened. It's just like an example in the Bible. Where is the man that she slept with? Or did she commit adultery with herself? But she was paraded alone, which to me was all shades of wrong. Now I'm glad people have taken it up. I'm glad the government there is also looking at it. So I think those people should and must be brought to book so that that barbaric tradition should be put to an end. Now my final words to all women out there. It's not an easy world for us women. There are so many challenges. There will always be challenges. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep pushing on. Do not stop pushing on. Someday, one day, we will get there. And we will look back and see how much we have come. And then to all the men who have supported us, to the few men who have supported us as women, the he for she's, we appreciate you all. Thank you for all you do for us. Do not stop doing all you do for us. May God bless you.
Amen. Last words.
Yes, my last word is that women keep on shining.
All right, your voices will definitely be heard someday. And happy International Women's Day in arrears to every woman out there. Every day is our day. Our voice must be heard, and we're going to keep talking. If some women did not fight, women would not be voting in the world today. But so the struggle continues. We're not fighting for ourselves, we're fighting for the next generation. They will also have struggles to fight for. And equality, parading people naked, it's not just about women. It shouldn't be done to any gender. Let's put a stop to such barbaric acts. Where the bias, we have to stop the bias. So, see, you paraded the woman and you left the man. If a man cheats on his wife, the woman eventually dies from emotional trauma. Do you parade him? Do you beat him? Does the family stop mingling with him? Let's stop the bias. Let's stop the bias. And the last thing I want to just say to everyone, Nigeria's securities architecture should be improved on. DNA testing, fingerprints should be known now. It should be normal for us. Why is it so hard for us to get fingerprints from people? We need our fingerprints in data so that we can apprehend criminals sharp. Women's life are at risk. Teach your children character is not only for men, no. Self-defense is important. Every woman should start embracing that thought to learn to fight for themselves. Government will do so much, but you have to also help yourself. I'm Daisy Leo Esekidi. Thanks for your time. We'll be back again next week with another show, of course. Bye.